just over half have, which is fantastic. Okay, so if you guys who have done it, get you guys to spread, make sure that you guys are spread out amongst the 4 different, say we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 stations. But what I can I get 3 people who have done it before? Just come in now. You guys just want to start going through it, and I'll just talk everyone through it as you go. Cool. So the way we have these set up is we've got our flags set up as defenders. That's the defensive line. Okay. So referee arrives. They arrive with their nearest foot to the breakdown. Our breakdown's here. Okay. They arrive with that foot forward, and they're probably about halfway between the back foot of the breakdown, which is the orange cone here, and the defensive line. Almost close enough to touch the defensive line. We're talking through it as you guys are doing it.
Yeah.
Repeatedly.
Go. Repeatedly.
Go.
Let's go.
Come on. How's it going, Ryan? Yeah, mate. So Ryan's got to demonstrate it now. Now rise. Foot forward. 1 step. And away. Yeah. Cool. So just treat those defenders don't treat those posts like they are defenders. You can probably come a bit closer to the ruck if you need to feel like you manage, and then move away. Make sure you go just 1 step. The key is got to be close enough with that step. So that's 1 step into the defensive line. And then you can go. Okay. And don't rush. Take your time. Do it really slow. So there's no rush on it. Okay. So if you guys want to spread yourselves out evenly amongst the sort of 4 stations, and just help each other through it. We've got coaches that'll be spread out amongst it, just giving you guys pointers. We'll start with this and then we'll change it to another drill afterwards.
With the sports boys, what we're going to do is try and do a little bit of the positioning work we've been doing. So what I want you to do when we get over to there is to pair up with, hopefully we've got enough to do it in 3, so senior referee, junior referee and a coach together, and lots of 3. They're going to run through a bit of live game work, so I'm going to run around for a little bit of it. I'll try not to do all of it and get some other guys and some of the other Prem boys that never run. But what I want you to do when you're looking at that is look, and I'm not saying it'll be perfect at all, is to look to where I go, look to maybe how I communicate, and look to how that looks, to have a discussion. I'll purposely do some stuff wrong and go to the wrong side, maybe not purposely. There's a big chance of me getting shit wrong, but what I want the discussion points to be around is how I may, and hopefully I can still do this, how I may get to a point to transition to a new point, and what that looks like in terms of, so I've just watched a lot of the drill here where I've watched a whole lot of you be really robotic in your actions. So you've come up really well and got yourself really nicely set, and you've been really robotic, and you're also, the breakdown's here and you're turning in like this. I guarantee you'll get a ball in the face, because there's no way you can really move effectively from here. So you're all quite, the majority, and I say the greater majority are quite robotic. You need to be a bit more fluid. There's nothing wrong with coming in and just sort of getting on your toes and being ready to move and having your feet nice and close together. Ball comes, I might be able to move, I can do whatever, or I can transition forward into the line. But we're all a little bit robotic, and we're all in a big hurry doing this drill. So we're all going in, set, move, out to here and that. What you should be doing when we get to here is get in and sort of count to 3. So get in, 1, 2, 3 in your mind. Right, move to the next place. Breakdown's there, 1, 2, right, ball's going to come, I'm going to transition, because you have a lot of time. Like, you have a lot of time at each one to get yourself set. If we're in a hurry, apart from almost probably Tiana, who flew through, you like transitioned through them really well, but almost a bit quick. But your movement was really good, so your feet were really good. The rest of you, a lot of you, sorry, really robotic. Get on your toes, get ready to move. It's almost like you're standing here like this on your toes, ready to move. Because if all of a sudden you adopt that principle and it's not the goal line, and there's a pick and go and a break, and you're stuck like this, and there's a pick and a go or a short ball and a line break, you are gone. They are gone and you're gone. You're buggered from getting to them. Versus a little bit of here, versus then you can go with them. So what I'll try and do is a little bit of transition stuff like that. I'll swap in a few of the other guys like Amon and Ryan and Cam and Sam and those boys to do some of the other bits and pieces as we do them. But I want the coaches to challenge the referees about what they're seeing from a positional and a comms perspective as to what's trying to be achieved. Okay? Unfortunately, it's not an environment where you can get everybody in to get a live run, and I don't make any apologies for that. These guys are being really accommodating at letting us. They're in the middle of the season, they've got to do their shit, which is why I'm probably being a bit selective about the people that we'll put in to have a bit of a run. But there is heaps to learn around what that looks like. And then we can actually take from there, if we take some of the breakdown stuff, and you can actually almost put a group of guys together and practice a bit of positional work amongst ourselves as well. So what I really want to make sure you're getting out of that is the senior referees in the group and the coaches challenging the newer referees or the younger guys or the less experienced guys around what they're seeing and why. Why have I gone to a particular position because I think it might go to a pick? Why have I gone to maybe, and you'll notice I referee a lot jockey first. I go jockey first, but the thing you'll notice that if Sam's the halfback, I referee jockey here. I don't referee the jockey from over here because I am 5'8" to fuck all use over here. I can't really do anything. Sam, stop, Sam, please stop. Not very effective, is it? Versus 8, get back. And right here, I'm eyeballing him, I'm right here. So you'll notice I'll referee reasonably close to the 9, and then I'll transition through to sides where I need to transition, and I'm sure, I don't know, I haven't seen many of the other boys go, to be honest, so you'll do your own thing. But what I want to do by having some different guys in is to understand, the most important thing to understand is there is no one thing that is perfect. So how I might referee from a positional perspective might be quite different to how Sam or Ryan does, but what you can take from those is the bits that work for you and your particular style in terms of how you do it. So Nick referees very differently positionally to the way I referee. Absolutely, we referee very differently. Jacko and I refereed very similar, probably because we played a lot in that space. But Mike Fraser and Ben O'Keefe referee positionally very different, but they get the same outcomes. So what you want to try and take from it is when you're seeing different guys doing stuff, is have a look at how they might, someone might come in and go straight to 45 but then roll back out. Or someone might go to jockey first and transition to 45. But what you've also got to see, that you should see all of these guys doing, is a little bit of anticipation as well. So where a lot of our junior guys get caught out is around our anticipation. So if I'm sitting here and the halfback's set up with like this, where do you think he's going? He's going out here. So there's no way in the world, if I'm standing out here at 45 and they're set up that way, I should get at least at a minimum to jockey so I can transition to the next one. You'll see I'll get caught out definitely on the wrong side, absolutely, but it's about the transition of how you do it. So really important, coaches to challenge and senior referees challenge the other guys to ask them what they're seeing, but really important from a learning perspective for you to take the little bits from everybody to see what is effective for you. Okay? Any questions? Easy. Just wanted to explain that early before we get over there. That's what we're going to do. So apologies, not everyone's going to get to be able to have a run in there, but it's a bit more of a learning experience around seeing how stuff operates. And again, really for the coaches to really challenge positional stuff.
Timing will go.
They are, what is it?
Terrible whistle.
Too far. Go back.
Boys, there's plenty of room. There should be mismatches of the tee out the back.
Rocket. Watch your back. Look at the spaces. Fly, Seamus. Fly.
They fell over.
Rocket.
I keep banging up.
Stay too far! Nice ball! Good boy. Get back! Hey, you got nothing in here. Hold. Stay here, shooting. Don't stay. Stay well, guys. Up.
Inside, go!
Drop out, Green! Get tight! Get back!
Yeah, bro.
Let's go, A to B, have a gun! You want to talk to us what you're seeing? Nice, Cashy. Too far. Boys, call the space. Look up.
That's a hard habit to break.
Keep calling it, boys. Don't just say it once. Keep calling it. Ready, stay, ready, come. Lock your boys, ready. Stay. Play from there, let's go, yellow! Line up! Filges. 2 fault, no, stay, just 1. Hold! On, John!
The full line was 3-1 beautiful. How you got there? You got a whistle?
Well, then when legs are moving, you just
Stay here, Tony. Don't get sucked in. Stay here. Hold. Get our system! Come on! Rock it! Just come over!
Sweet boys, another 30 seconds. Rockets on. Still here, Joe. Still hold. Reset. Shame out. Rocket. Go, full. Come on, stay. Nice, Jared. Get up. Stay shitty. Stay Jared. Hold it, shorty. Go left, Joey, left. Get on, Tony, get on. Same way, Joey. Hands off, yeah. Same way, Joey. Forward, up. Holding. Just carry. Wait, tight, G. Tight, G. Get here. Pull.
I thought you guys went great on was around your ceiling, but pretty good there tonight in terms of what you're doing and down and straight up. But the biggest obstacle I saw out of there is when you guys get stuck and a bit late, your entry is real bad. The other thing that I talked to the non-bib boys about after the first little set was your attack on the ball is you're going, and it happened a few times after, we don't get all of them, but you're going hands on ground first, and then on the ball you must go ball first and lift. So you're all going hands past and dragging back, which is the way it used to be, and we'll let you do it, but no more. So you must get on there and lift first, that and your entry. But apart from that, I mean, it's pretty non-committal, you're only getting 1 or 2 to each one. But yeah, isolated leads to bad entry, leads to shit ball control, and how you deal with it. Any questions from you guys about that?
So in terms of isolation, which parts of the field is that happening to us, or in what parts of the game is that happening to us quite a bit?
Still got breaches there?
Yeah. We made that half breach, and we're making that decision where we're going to offload, and the person supporting is probably looking for an offload, and then when that doesn't happen, then we're getting stuck around that. So that's something we're going to have to work on, whether that's comms or the other part of the field where it's happening. On the edge, eh? So in the middle, when we're playing in our pods, generally we're pretty controlled. We understand who's cleaning what. It's that edge section where we just got one forward and the rest backs. And we probably don't know who's going to carry.
It's always the backs' fault. Well, the first couple of weeks too has been our ball carrier on ground a bit too, eh? So just need to be real conscious of that in terms of what the guy's doing on the ground. It's going to be really dynamic. Heard Pingy yelling out the whole time, land on your chest. It's just a small detail stuff that can help us, say, buy us an extra half a second.
Well, I think where you're getting stuck is also, and happened a couple of times, is you can't do that second movement anymore. So you've got to present the ball straight away. So you can't do you're allowed one immediate movement. So you can go to chest, as you're talking chest and turn is okay, but a couple of times you're getting flat or back and that extra move, so you only get that one dynamic movement. So when you're getting stuck, when you're getting isolated, you try and buy time. So you either do one of two things: you buy time to get someone there, or you create bad entry when you get stuck. So that's where you get. That was probably the major thing there, mainly because it wasn't as committed as you get in the game with 16 guys there.
If we land on our side, it doesn't matter how many movements are allowed, they're just going to fucking get on the ball, okay? Land on your chest, then one movement, get nice and long. If we land on our side, it's just a free ticket for them to get on the ball. Fair play?
Thanks, boys.
Awesome. We're going to split now, boys.
Really quick, you saw 3 different guys out there and 3 different things. I know it's hard to see us doing it, but what did people notice about how we went about it in terms of doing it?
Your refereeing got better as each referee changed out, the next one came in. So we finish on the high with the best referee goes.
So, what about something that might be constructive for learning instead of being a wanker?
There were different styles, like you tended, and we knew that, because you said beforehand, that you probably favour the jockey position, whereas Sam was more out on the A and D lines.
And there's no right or wrong, so there's absolutely no right or wrong. Sam sees probably the majority of the same stuff I see in terms of what we're doing. So there's no right or wrong, but there's adapting the right position for the right situation. So like I was pretty rusty. So if I got caught a couple of times, you probably see me, my real safety reset place, and I encourage all coaches to give everybody my reset safety place is getting to jockey, because I'm out of the way. And then I can reset and start again. That's my real safety place to go to start again. If I get, and you would have noticed, if I got stuck and I thought I was in the way, I instantly get back out into my little safety space, and then I start again. The other guys probably been doing it more lately, so they're transitionally better. Anyone else notice anything else?
I think what I noticed, especially from me, but I think everyone was the same, that the importance of getting in good positions meant we were able to make calls. So I think for my first probably 2 minutes, because I just was nowhere, I made 0 calls. But then as soon as I was in better positions, I was able to make calls. So I think for me it highlighted, and I think watching everyone, when we were in not good positions, we weren't able to make calls. And I think that's the importance of practicing that positioning and thinking about positioning, because I think that's exactly what I think
the important take out from that too, Sam, is that the one thing that Sam didn't do with that, he found himself out of position a little bit. Do you notice what's the one thing he didn't do when he was out of position?
He didn't have a safety.
No, he didn't have safety. What's the other thing he didn't do?
Calls.
Didn't make a shit call. That was a guess.
Which is a good thing.
Which is a great thing. That's what I'm saying. So he do not make, I think they might have guess calls. So he couldn't get to a place until he got to a place to make calls. So you're better off to get criticised for a call you didn't make than the call that you made that was wrong.
Just don't make that 30 minutes from the time you bounce.
Yeah, correct. You get maybe a window of a couple of minutes.
but still, even if you're 30 minutes deep and you're not making any calls because you're not seeing anything, don't start trying to make calls. Because I've seen that plenty of times when I've gone and watched people.
Anything else for anyone else in terms of what they saw?
I think Sam transition.
It's good, wasn't it? solid work.
I think Sam transitioned better than Ryan, but Ryan got better as he got warmer, and he could see what was going on.
And it's looking, to be fair, it was really quick, non-committal,
way quicker than
quite hard. You didn't get time to get set. It was very much like the drills we do. So I think if we take anything out of that as a group and for the coaches is that the things that for big takeaways that I take out of tonight is like, take your time, have a safety space, and everybody's safety place might be different. So I think Nick's safety place is probably more in the D line because he's done a lot of sevens. So that's his safety place. My safety place is jockey. Somebody else's might be quite different. But understand where you can go to reset yourself to start again. Be appreciative of the fact that you do not have to be a robot or be like somebody else. What you do and how you do it is very much up to you in terms of how you adapt that and what it looks like. And be prepared to get it wrong. Like, I get it wrong all the time. In every game, I always end up in the wrong place at some point. But it's understanding when you got it wrong. And the conversation for the coaches with, I think, with referees when they're watching them, or any senior guy, is where do you think you might have got it wrong and what's the outcome of that? So Sam got it wrong, his outcome, he made a choice to not make calls that he thought might be guessing. But you might come off a game and go, geez, I made a bad call, and you might start talking about a bad decision. What led you to the bad decision? It's not, is it through bad line of sight because you're in a bad position? You'd be surprised how much of it comes back to a shit call generally comes from A, shit lines, or B, bad position. Not much of it comes from being a bad referee. Most of it comes from being in the wrong place and not seeing something, or seeing the third offence because you got there late, or you saw the wrong thing. So more of it comes from positioning. So I'd encourage you to, I mean, it's hard in Super, it's very different in terms of, and look, Pat even said to me, I don't scan. So I've refereed just about my whole career with ARs. So I hardly ever scan, which is bad, but I don't do it because I've had just about my whole career I've had an AR. Whereas not everybody's got that, so you might have to position yourself slightly different to how I might do it to be able to get that scan element. So take what you want out of each person. If you're running touch for any of the guys on any Saturday, I encourage you to have a look at some of that stuff, see what they are and aren't doing. Listen to some of the comms, we all do that a bit differently as well. But learn and try some stuff. Go out in your game this week if you've got a game this week or whenever and try, right, my safety spot, I might try my safety this week to be jockey. And it might work and it might be rubbish. But you don't know if you don't try.
I think that safety spot too is, if you do get yourself in the shit, you've got to get it back into that safety spot as quick as possible.
100%.
You don't want to go 2 or 3 phases and you're still in the wrong position.
That's right. So part of it is understanding when you're in the wrong place. So generally for me, I know I'm in the wrong place if I feel really lost and I feel like I can only see about 5 people. So if I feel like I can only see about 5 people, I'm lost because I'm only seeing people just here in front of me. Whereas I can go to jockey and I get my safety where I get probably 20 people. For Ryan it might be slightly different, or Sam, I think you look like you're more in the D line is more safe for you, or it might be different for everybody. So understand what your safety is and try it. Understand trying to do different lines. I think we're probably not direct enough in some of our line running, and the stuff I've seen. That look, Bryce used to get a lot of criticism about the Fat Man's Track, but gee, the Fat Man's Track as a referee is a good place. To be honest, there's a lot. You don't have to go around the back and see everything from back here. You can just cut straight through the middle to get to somewhere. And I guess as you get older, you get better at cutting corners. But you know, but understand that stuff. So my challenge to you guys is to go into your game this weekend and understand where your safety is. Understand if you've got a coach with you, tell them where your safety is and how many times you had to go to your safety spot. Because if you had to go to your safety spot 35 times in a game, you've got some fundamental other issues because you're getting in the wrong place 35 times. If you have to go there 5 times, then that's okay. I reckon I'm probably 5 to 10 times a game I have to safety out, once every 10 minutes roughly. So, like, as a challenge, I would challenge you to go and understand where that is for you. And again, everybody's a bit different. Understand where yours is and go from there. Anything else? Anyone? Any questions for anybody? I know it was quite hard to see and do some of that stuff.
No, it's just probably off the track of positioning a bit. It was just that little conversation at the end with the with Pingy and whatnot. just around like where they get caught. So that was good for me, just in terms of like where I need to work really hard or be really you know, clued up as to right, here's a danger for maybe entries or whatever.
So I mean, one of the things I learned really young in refereeing was if there's a line break, the first thing I'm looking for is entry, because either the defenders are desperate, so they're either going to come in the side to try and win the ball, or the line break's going to get isolated, so his mates are going to be desperate to save the ball. So the very first thing I'm looking for on a line break is bad entry. Nothing else. Bad entry or sealing, sorry, are the two things that instantly are in my head on the line break.
We used to say who's at risk.
Absolutely. So who is at risk on a line break? The defenders are at risk on the first element because they're breached and they have to come back and around. But attackers, if they're isolated on a line break, as Pingy was talking about, are also there. And he's right. Very rarely do you get super bad entry in the middle of the field. It's only when you get them on the outside and on the edges. So have a think about what decisions you're making where. And so that's quite an important point. You know, where are you making decisions? On the edges or line breaks is when often entry or sealing happens. Very rarely do you see a sealing in close quarter play, because the clean out's generally good, someone's right up their arse, the clean out's generally pretty good, so you shouldn't be looking for that. So you've got to think about, it's very much around situational awareness for not only your positioning, but for your decision making as well. So I hope everyone got a bit out of that. I know it was a little bit of us running around out there, but in terms of trying to learn and understand, watch the guys you're running touch for, listen to them, see the decisions they make, and things like that. Any other questions? Maybe? Does anyone want to, I know, what is the time? 7:30, it's late. They're doing some scrums. Does anybody want to go and do some scrum stuff? I know it's 7:30, it's getting on a bit.
I'm going to head over at least. But
yeah, so if a couple of guys want to, I've got to get away, so maybe Cam, you want to go over and do some scrum stuff with them? It's still crouch, touch, blind, engage.
Yeah, I think that's
Crouch, touch, pause.
Crouch and hold.
What about just, in you go? I watched a lot of games over the break. In you go!
Yeah, don't feel obligated, guys, but if you want to stick around, like, I'll head over there as well. But yeah, it is late, it's getting cold. But yeah, all good.
Thanks guys for tuning out.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, Kevin.